Hi guys, and welcome to week 15 of the weekly session. Today is a session where I was looking at pressing, specifically the decision behind of whether to press or whether to delay. The objectives for the session were for the players to have a fast reaction to losing the ball, to understand when to press and steal the ball, but also to understand when to press and delay. The key words for the session were press and steal, press and delay, and reactions. From a detail point of view, the what was pressing, when to press versus when to delay. The why, win the ball, allow teammates time to recover. Where, high up the pitch if possible, but of course we had to look at our own half in case we needed to slow the attack down. When, ideally, it was that turnover in possession, which was the big focus for me. How they were going to do it, we're going to talk about reading triggers, making direct runs towards the ball, thinking about your body shape in terms of where you want to show the player. If you're close enough in that 1 versus 1 situation, is your your front foot pointing towards the ball, so you can maybe steal the ball with the toe poke, and also making sure you get goal side and inside the player. In terms of who, my main focus was the forwards and the wingers, but there was also going to be possibilities for me to talk to the players who were playing in defence as well. I started with an arrival game of big goal versus little goal. So this is a 3 versus 3 game where one team have a big goal to defend, and as a result one of those players is a goalkeeper, and the other team have a little goal to defend and they've got 3 outfield players. So there's a constant 3 versus 2 on the outfield. Now there was a couple of reasons why I did this. As I've said in previous weeks, I think small-sided games are a great way to start the session, just to get the players energised and ready to play and ready to train, should I say. But also, for this particular practice, it allowed me to observe what they understood in terms of when to press, when to delay. Ideally, I was looking at the team with the 2 outfield players to be a little bit more cagey and look to see if they were delaying the attack due to them being outnumbered. And of course, the team with the 3 outfield players, could they press aggressively to try and win the ball back? The next activity we moved into was a 3 versus 1 Rondo. Now, because I had 12 players, I split the players into teams of 3. Three teams would be working to keep the ball away from 1 player on each of the other team, who would have to stay in the square for 2 to 3 minutes. Each team would have a go at defending and 3 turns in keeping the ball. As an added rule, when the defender won the ball, I wanted them to try and dribble out of the square rather than just trying to touch the ball. That's how they would score a point. And the team with the most amount of points would be the winning team. So obviously, from my point of view, this would encourage the 3 on the outside to try and keep the ball and minimise the opportunity for the player in the middle to score. Additionally, it allowed me an opportunity to talk to the 3 on the outside that if they lost the ball, what was their reaction like? Were they standing there or were they trying to win it back immediately? The next part of the practice, we moved back into a big goal versus little goal game. Now, one of the reasons I've done this is for the ease of setup. It means I don't have to change anything after we've done the arrival activity. Also, the players know how the game works, so I don't have to waste any time with them learning the rules. Whereas with the arrival activity, it was mostly me observing. This was my opportunity to coach and speak to the players, ask questions to the players outnumbered. Is the right decision for you to win the ball here, or is the right decision for you to delay? Additionally, with the players who had the overload, is the right decision for you to go and press and steal, or do you need to slow the attack down? Why do you need to do that? I feel with small-sided games, it's a really good opportunity to ask questions. Of course, one of the things as coaches that we want is for players to retain the information that we want them to learn. Now, I don't know about you, but when people just speak to me, sometimes it goes in, sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. But if I'm the one providing the answers, then I'm more likely to remember the things that I'm trying to learn. And it's the same with children. If you get the answers out of them, if you can ask them questions, if you can force them to tell you what you want them to hear, and they also might give you some information, some feedback that you're not expecting, that makes you think, oh, actually, yeah, that's a good idea. I feel that they're going to be more likely to remember the things that you ask, and as a result, they're going to implement them in games a lot better. The final game was a 6v6 game of 4 quarters. Now, the way this game works, the pitch is split into 4 quarters, and the idea is if you can go and press and win the ball back as a team in one of the 2 attacking quarters, or one of the 2 quarters of the pitch that you're attacking, and then go and score, you get 3 points. Again, I wanted players to be aggressive in their press if they lost the ball, but also this was going to highlight if the press gets beaten, is there then opportunity to slow the attack down and give your teammates time to recover? Do you need to delay, or is the touch heavy enough where you can actually go and steal the ball? The players struggle to understand the rules. They're under 9s, but they're quite young mentally. They kind of figured it out towards the end, but you would still get 1 or 2 players switching off rather than the whole team going to win the ball. So that's a challenge that you might need to think of. Maybe you reduce the numbers rather than saying the whole team. Can 4 players be in that quarter when you win the ball? And if you go and score, it's worth 3 points. Of course, coaching's nothing if it isn't about learning. So that's a bit of feedback that I'm going to take into my next session with these players, or if I run this small-sided game again. If you like the session, give us a thumbs up, and also make sure you follow us for week 16, which is coming next Sunday.